These are my learning objectives for this overview. Historical significance of Ravenna as a capital of the Western Roman Empire and its role in the Byzantine Empire. Also going to learn about the political and cultural influences that shape Ravenna. Going to learn about the architectural characteristics of Byzantine structures in Ravenna, the significance of architectural innovations. You're also going to learn about the stylistic features of the Byzantine art. You're going to compare and contrast the artistic styles of Ravenna with those of other Byzantine centers. The depiction of religious figures and narratives in Byzantine mosaics and their significance in conveying theological messages. We also are going to learn about the impact of Ravenna's art and architecture on later European artistic traditions. And finally, we're going to reflect on the enduring influence of Byzantine culture on Western civilization and its contributions to the humanities. So, what is the historical significance of Ravenna as a capital of the Western Roman Empire? Well, for one, its strategic location. Ravenna was chosen as the capital due to its strategic location. It was situated near the Adriatic Sea, which provided a natural defense against invasions and facilitated communication and trade with the Eastern Roman Empire. Also, as the capital, Ravenna became the political and administrative center of the Western Roman Empire. It was the residence of the emperors and the seat of government, which shifted from Rome due to increasing threats from barbarian invasions. Also, the cultural and architectural development, with notable buildings such as the Mausoleum of Galla Placidia and the Basilica of San Vital. Now, let's get into the role in the Byzantine Empire. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, Ravenna was reconquered by the Byzantine Empire under Emperor Justinian in 540 AD. The city is also famous for its Byzantine mosaics, which reflect the artistic and religious influences of the Eastern Roman Empire. It was an important center for the spread of Christianity and the development of early Christian art and architecture. Okay, now we're going to dive into the political and cultural influences that shaped Ravenna during the transition from Roman to Byzantine control. So, we're going to address the political influences first. Ravenna's location on the Adriatic coast made it a strategic military and naval base. This geographical advantage was crucial for both the Western Roman Empire and the Byzantine Empire in controlling the Italian peninsula and the surrounding regions. The Western Roman Empire's capital in around 402 AD, Imperial Honorius moved the capital of the Western Roman Empire from Milan to Ravenna. This decision was influenced by Ravenna's defensible position surrounded by marshes and lagoons, which provided natural protection against invasions. The Ostrogothic rule. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD, Ravenna became the capital of the Ostrogothic kingdom under Theodoric the Great. Theodoric maintained Roman traditions and administration, which helped preserve Roman culture and infrastructure. Byzantine reconquest. In the mid-6th century, the Byzantine Emperor Justinian launched the Gothic War to reclaim Italy. Ravenna was recaptured by the Byzantine general Belisarius in 540 AD. which marked the beginning of Byzantine rule. This reconquest was part of Justinian's efforts to restore the Roman Empire's former territories. Now, let's get into some of the cultural influences. Under both Ostrogothic and Byzantine rule, Ravenna became renowned for its architectural and artistic achievements. The city is famous for its early Christian and Byzantine mosaics, which reflect a blend of Roman and Eastern artistic influences. Its religious significance. Ravenna was a center of early Christianity, and its churches and basilicas such as San Vitel and Sant Apollinare Nuovo became important religious sites. The city's religious architecture showcases the traditions from Roman to Byzantine styles, with intricate mosaics depicting Christian iconography. Cultural synthesis. The period of tradition saw a synthesis of Roman, Gothic, and Byzantine cultures. Theodoric's court, for example, was a melting pot of Roman and Germanic traditions, which influenced the cultural landscape of Ravenna. And lastly, intellectual hub. Ravenna attracted scholars, artists, and theologians, becoming an intellectual hub during this period. The city's libraries and schools contributed to the preservation and transmission of classical knowledge and Christian theology. Now, let's go over some of the architectural characteristics of Byzantine structures in Ravenna, such as the Basilica of San Vitel and the Mausoleum of Galla Placidia. Both have a central octagonal layout, which I have illustrated in the picture here, which is a distinctive feature of Byzantine architecture, allowing for the balanced distribution of weight around a central dome. Domes and pendentives. The central dome is a prominent element in both buildings, supported by pendentives which transition the square base of the structure into an octagonal shape, enabling the dome to sit stably on the space below. Rich mosaic decoration. The most striking feature of these structures is the extensive use of intricate and colorful mosaics covering the walls and ceilings, religious figures, and geometric patterns showcasing the high level of Byzantine art. Also have polygonal apse. The Basilica of San Vitel features a polygonal apse, a semicircular alcove at the altar end, which is typical of Byzantine churches. Ambulatory and galleries. The basilica has a two-story ambulatory surrounding the central octagon, allowing for circulation around the building and providing access to the upper galleries. Intricate column capitals. The columns in both structures often have elaborately carved capitals with floral and geometric designs, showcasing Byzantine decorative motifs. Specific details of each building. Basilica of San Vitel, considered the pinnacle of Byzantine architecture in Ravenna. Its octagonal design, large central dome, and extensive mosaic decoration, including the famous depictions of Imperial Justinian and Empress Theodora, are particularly noteworthy. The Mausoleum of Galla Placidia. This smaller mausoleum is known for its intimate scale and rich mosaic decoration, particularly the Good Shepherd mosaic on the ceiling and the use of starry night sky motif to symbolize the heavens. Now, I'm going to discuss the significance of architectural innovations introduced during the Byzantine period, including the use of domes and mosaics. So the use of domes in Byzantine architecture, particularly the pendative dome, was a major structural innovation. This technique allowed for the placement of a circular dome over a square room, which was a significant engineering achievement at the time. Iconic example would be the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople. Is the most famous example by Byzantine dome construction. Its massive central dome, which seems to float above the nave, became a symbol of the Byzantine Empire's architectural prowess. Symbolism. Domes in Byzantine architecture often symbolize the heavens of the divine. The vast open space beneath the dome was intended to inspire awe and a sense of the divine presence. The significance of mosaics. Mosaics were a primary form of artistic expression in Byzantine churches and public buildings. They were used to depict religious scenes, figures of saints, and biblical narratives, serving both decorative and didactic purposes. Durability and beauty. Made from small pieces of colored glass, stone, or other materials, mosaics were durable and could create vibrant, detailed images that withstood the test of time. The use of gold leaf in mosaics added a shimmering effect, enhancing the spiritual atmosphere of the spaces they adorn. Cultural influence. Byzantine mosaics influenced the art and architecture of neighboring regions, including the Islamic world and Western Europe. The techniques and styles developed during the Byzantine period were adapted in various cultural contexts. The key stylistic features of Byzantine mosaics. The use of gold backgrounds. The subjects of Byzantine mosaics are predominantly religious, depicting Christ, the Virgin Mary, saints, and biblical scenes. These images serve as visual theology, teaching the faithful about Christian doctrine and stories. Next up, we'll talk about the figures in Byzantine mosaics. They are often stylized rather than naturalistic. The hieratic scale. The use of hieratic scale is common where the size of figures is based on their spiritual importance rather than their physical proximity. For example, Christ is often depicted as larger than other figures to signify his divine status. Frontal and static poses. Figures are typically shown in frontal static poses, which convey a sense of timelessness and eternal presence. The reflection of religious and cultural themes. Mosaics served as a visual tool for religious instruction, especially in a time when literacy was not widespread. They communicated complex theological ideas and biblical narratives to the faithful. Imperial power and authority. Byzantine mosaics often included depictions of imperials alongside religious figures, symbolizing the divine right of the imperial and the close relationship between the church and the state. Cultural continuity. The use of mosaics reflect the continuation of Roman artistic traditions adapted to fit the Christian context of the Byzantine Empire. So this continuity underscores the cultural and historical links between the Byzantine Empire and its Roman past. So our next objective to tackle is to compare and contrast the artistic styles of Ravenna with those of other Byzantine centers. And so here's a list with similarities and the differences. So the similarities are the mosaic art, religious themes, iconography, and the differences will be regional influences, architectural styles, color palette and style, and local patronage and themes. Now, I'm going to discuss the depiction of religious figures and narratives in Byzantine mosaics and their significance in conveying theological messages. Byzantine mosaics often feature Christ, the Virgin Mary, saints, and angels. These figures were depicted with specific attributes and symbols to convey their identity and significance. The hieratic scale technique was also used to emphasize the importance of religious figures. The use of gold in the background of mosaics was symbolic of the divine light and the heavenly realm. The theological messages were incarnation and salvation, intercession of saints, and the authority of the church. Okay, the impact of Ravenna's art and architecture on later European artistic traditions included medieval art, Renaissance revival, and cultural transmission. Now, let's reflect on the enduring influence of Byzantine culture on Western civilization and its contributions to the humanities. The Byzantine Empire's influence on Western civilization is evident in the continued reverence for its art and architecture, the legal principles derived from its codifications, and theological, philosophical ideas that have shaped Christian thought. The preservation of classical knowledge by Byzantine scholars was instrumental in the intellectual revival of the Renaissance, underscoring the empire's lasting impact on the humanities. So the key contributions of Byzantine culture be religion and theology, law and governance, literature and scholarship, and cultural exchange. And here I have three Google Earth locations. On the top left side, you have the Basilica of San Vital. On the right side, right next to it, you have the Marcelo Gala Placidia location. And on the bottom, you have the Hagia Sophia location. Here's a list of important figures during this time period. Justinian the First, also his wife, Theodora. And his wife Theodora was a powerful, influential figure in the Byzantine court. She played a crucial role in political decisions and was known for her efforts to expand women's rights. The religious figures, Pope Gregory I, although that he was primarily associated with Rome, he also had significant influence on the Christian church during this period, including the spread of Christianity in Europe. Also, Saint Apollinaris, a bishop of Ravenna. He's considered the first bishop of the city. Also, for warriors and military leaders, I have Belisarius. He was a prominent general under Emperor Justinian. And he played a key role in the Byzantine military campaigns to reclaim former Roman territories, including North Africa and Italy. And lastly, I have Narses, another important general under Justinian, Narses was instrumental in the Gothic War, which led to the reconquest of Italy. Here I have a list of people in present time who work similar to those figures that discussed in this overview. Angela Merkel, which was the Chancellor of Germany from 2005 to 2021. Her policies often focus on economic stability and integration. Also, Xi Jinping, the president of China. He's been known for his ambitious infrastructure projects such as the Belt and Road Initiative, which aims to expand China's influence globally. His leadership style includes significant legal and political reforms within China, similar to Justinian's legal codifications. Also have Narendra Modi, which is the Prime Minister of India, and her style is reminiscent of Justinian's building projects and legal reforms. And lastly, I have Christine Lagarde as the president of the European Central Bank and former managing director of the International Monetary Fund. She played a significant role in financial and economic reforms on a global scale, similar to Justinian's efforts to stabilize and reform the Byzantine economy. And here is a link to my related video entitled The Rise and Fall of the Byzantine Empire that will complete my overview of Chapter 7.